Hi, everybody. Happy Wednesday afternoon. My name is Gila Kurtz. I am the president and co-founder of Dog is Good, which is a lifestyle brand for dog lovers. And I cannot wait to share our guest with you today because I met her at a fundraising event for an incredibly good cause called Just Like My Child, which maybe we can mention that later on too and help them out. And she was the MC, and just her heart and center and soul just spoke to me. And then when I looked at what she does, I was like, hello, that speaks my language. And then to find out that she's a dog lover to boot, you guys want to watch this for sure. And you're going to want to share this with everybody. So I'll introduce our guest, Sheri, here in just a second. But before I do, I want to mention that as a reminder, we always have a giveaway here at Dog is Good. What did I do with it? Here it is. So you can enter to win. And wouldn't it be nice to win a gift for somebody for the holidays? You can stop rushing around like a maniac doing a gazillion things and know at least one gift is taken care of. But you can get your very own dog lover t-shirt, which is this awesome, soft raglan shirt. I just love it. Everybody loves it. It's so soft, it's stretchy, and it just speaks to, very simply, to what you are, who you are as a person inside as you live life with dog. So enter to win that. We'll put the link in the notes where you can get that. And yeah, I know everybody's busy running around doing their thing, but I hope you're going to take a few seconds to join us here and listen to a conversation with Sheri. So my guest, Sheri Salata, I'm going to introduce you now, and I want to thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day. Sheri had a dream job that many would kill for, I'm sure. A 20-year exhilarating career serving as the executive producer of the Oprah Winfrey Show, and later as the co-president of Harpo Studios and OWN, the Oprah Winfrey Network. Since her exit, Sheri hosts the popular The Sherri and Nancy Show, podcast with her best friend of 28 years, Nancy Holla, which is all about recreating the middle of your life. I know I'm in the middle of my life. I've listened to your podcast too, and it's awesome. So I want to make sure everybody knows about that as well. The duo are also the chief visionaries of The Pillar of Life, which offers simple strategies to help transform and balance our lives. Sheri absolutely adores the life she has created with her 2 bulldogs and her Cocker Spaniel. So Sheri, thank you and welcome to the Dog is Good Lifestyle Show.
Hi. Well, just to show you, I actually have 2 dogs. Okay. Nancy has Percy, her dog boy. Okay. I have two girls. This is Bella and Kissy.
Bella, is Kissy the one with the tongue out?
Yes, Kissy is all white, and Bella is the baby. So yes,
so cute.
They rule my world.
They do. I love it. Now, I'm just curious, how did you end up with bulldogs? Like, why did you select that breed?
Well, I was living in Chicago at the time, and I don't know, there was something, maybe I feel on some level like I look like them. But I also am
like our dogs somehow. I don't
know. One of my big spirit animals are pigs. I just love pigs. I'm crazy about them. And they kind of remind me like they have little pig bodies. So there's just something about their bodies and their personalities that really like touches my soul.
Yeah, and they do in so many powerful, powerful ways.
Yeah.
And, you know, I wanted to, well, first off, I know clearly you have had a tremendous career, but I love what you are doing most now. Yeah. And I wanted to center our conversation today about that. And primarily in this time of the year that's supposed to be filled with so much joy and connection with others, with loved ones, with friends, with family. I always see it every year, how crazy everybody gets.
Right.
And then I also see this as that time of year where people are beginning to think forward. How do they want to live in the next year? And many struggle with that. You know, like, oh my gosh, I'm either not where I wanted to be, and how do I move forward? How do I make those changes? So I want to really dive into a lot of what you and Nancy are working on with the pillars, because I think it's fantastic. Why do you think it is that now more than ever, we are so connected to our pets?
Oh my gosh, that's such a good question. I mean, I think we're evolving as sentient beings, and we're starting to, maybe even on a vibrational level, really being able to connect at a much deeper level with animals than maybe we were able to do in the past. I don't know the answer. I know what I feel is there's been something coming up for me for maybe even like the last 15 years where that animal thing has gotten much deeper and richer for me. Like it feels like a calling. I feel more called and called and called to connect with animals. So having my own and having that day in and day out intimate experience with
Yes.
Living, with two beautiful girls. It's been, one of the most enriching things I've ever done.
I love that word enriching that you just mentioned because to me, I feel like pets more than ever, particularly our dogs and our audience who's so connected to them, which I just want to say hi to my crew there, Judy and Kalia, for popping in. Please share with your friends and ask them to join us in this conversation. And also, if you are first joining us, please tell us where you're from and maybe share the name of your dog, what kind of dog you have too. So I feel like technology plays a big part in this and our ability to connect on a deeper level, simply in that in a time when we are so connected, or should be, via our cell phones and our computers and all the information that we have floating back and forth, that it's also created moments where we're no longer connected to each other. And so in the interactions we get to have with our dogs, they are the truest, most purest form of connectivity. And maybe that's something that is missing deep inside that helps us in building that relationship with them, and why that relationship is so powerful for us.
Right. So we value it more. So it becomes a more valuable piece of the puzzle for us in terms of our connection to everything.
Yes. Exactly. One of the things that we know to be true as well is the fact that dogs are so present. And I hear all the time, everybody, seeking the ability to be more mindful. One of the things that I read on your website, which, by the way, guys, and we'll put that in, go to the pillar.
thepillarlife.com.
thepillarlife.com.
Yeah.
You're going to love it. And it doesn't matter what age you are. Okay.
Yeah.
I wish I knew a lot of this stuff when I was in my 20s.
Me too.
But, dogs are always in the present. They don't worry about 5 minutes ago or create anxiety for themselves 5 minutes in the future. And you wrote, or Nancy actually wrote this, but on your site, wherever you are, revel in it. How do we do that? People find that so challenging. What have you done to pull mindfulness into your world? Yeah. What do you say to people who are just struggling with the ability to do that?
Well, I would say I've learned from my not choosing mindfulness. I lived a big chunk of big, dreamy, wonderful, beautiful life, and I missed a lot of it because I wasn't present. And it was only when I could step away from it that I could start to see, oh, I could have done that differently. Even as busy as I was, I could have done it differently. I had lots of choices. And so now today, and that's the one thing that Nancy and I talk a lot about on the podcast, is we literally created 8 pillars that cover all the areas of life so we can stay conscious. So I can move through a day and kind of think, I want to make sure I touch most of my pillars today. Health and wellness. I want to make sure I meditated and can check off spirituality and happiness. Need to call my dad, friends and family. I need little guideposts. I need to create a bit of a path where I can see that, yes, I know as long as I'm in tune with that and mindful about engaging in each of those areas, that I know I'm going to end up where I want to be, instead of going unconscious for 2 or 3 or 4 years at a time and then saying, wait a minute, I was going to become a meditator. Wait a minute, I was going to learn to do this. I was going to, become a yogi. All the things that are on your bucket list that you really want to move off there and put on your life list.
So I love that. And the fact that the pillars themselves are quite simple. And oftentimes we do need some sort of directive, if you will. I want to go through that for our audience, because I think they're incredibly valuable. Maybe highlight one key tip in each one that people can consider as they are contemplating the year that they've experienced in 2018, which I encourage everybody to do. How was this year for you? What did you learn? And what is it you want to see happen for yourself in 2018? And are you going to commit to being proactive? And possibly these pillars are a way to provide the simplicity around that to make that a reality. So I'm going to let you start with that. And
okay, I'll give you a little wander through there with and some of the things that I'm doing. And I'm going to start with the framing. This is, you do this with tender, loving eyes. This isn't about goal setting and getting there and I've got to make it happen, because I used to be like that. And that energy takes you one place. That's not where I want to go now. I want to be in flow. I want to be in flow. I want to be mindful. I want to be interacting with the synchronicities that the universe is putting in my path. So health and wellness, foundational pillar. For me, that is continuing to remove animal products from my diet. That's for me. And that is some sort of movement every day. It's, looking at naturopaths and healers as a part of my team. How I can add more wellness is, am I going to try a modality of acupuncture, or what am I going to try to make sure I'm very present with my health? The second one is spirituality and happiness.
Okay, because I want to highlight that health and wellness for 1 second. So for those of you who don't know me, if you're a first-time viewer, know that most of my life revolves around the anecdotal lessons I learned from my dogs, and the fact that the relationship I have with my dog plays such a big role in who I am as a person today. And so to that health and wellness piece, I find that in a heartbeat, if one's dog needed to go to the vet, if one's dog needed to change their diet or get a little bit of exercise or do things that stimulate their health and well-being, that we look for ways, we actually seek out ways to enhance that for them. And we don't do that the same for us. So in the same spirit of looking at these pillars for ourselves, and I love that you said, like, go make a specific goal. It drives people crazy, and it sets them up sometimes to feel like they may fail if they haven't reached their target. But coming to oneself through the same love and care and commitment that you would your own dog. Okay?
Oh my God. I can't even believe you're saying that. That's so right. And think about how you talk to your dogs. Oh, my love, my beloved. That's how you need to be talking to yourself about your health and wellness practices.
Totally. Yeah. Okay, so health and wellness.
Okay, key.
Pillar 2, spirituality.
Spirituality and happiness. Now, for me, I have come to believe that happiness is a choice. So every morning, getting up, choosing. And when I'm feeling a little off, going, oh, isn't this interesting? You're not choosing happiness today. What's all that about? The spirituality part for me is definitely meditating. Both Nancy and I are TM meditators. And when we're on track and we're meditating twice a day, then I can actually see it in our individual lives and in our professional partnership together. In our company. And when we're not, everything's a little rickety-racky. So that's really important for me. I'm also an Abraham Hicks person.
Oh, me too.
I've been going, listen, I'm 15 years in.
Oh,
so,
I'm behind you, but I'm totally
it's the simplest, most clear language I've ever encountered in terms of spirituality. And I've heard it all.
Yeah, for people who don't, I'm sure you have, with all the guests that you may have had on the Oprah show. What, for those people who don't know who Abraham Hicks is, maybe could you just give like a background on that?
I would absolutely say go check out the website. It's abrahamhicks.com. And it is it's basically the origination before The Secret of the law of attraction. And it is the language is super simple. It's basically you create your own reality and you are co-creating your experience all the time, and that you really are supposed to be happy. You really deserve the life of your dreams, and you should be living it. So it's very non-judgmental, nothing to join. Nobody asks you for money. Nobody even cares if you believe or not. So it's the clearest thing I've ever found, and it does not disappoint. It continues to live up to what I believe it to be. So that's been 15 years. So that's a long time.
No, I absolutely love it. I mean, for people who are always saying, when I die, I want to come back as my dog. I'm like, what is missing for you right now that you have to die to come back as your dog?
Yes. And you know, one of the things Abraham often says is that our dogs are our master teachers in mindfulness. Because as you said earlier, they're not looking ahead. They're not looking behind. They're right here. What's for dinner, mama? You know, when am I getting my treaty? I'd like it right this minute. And it's super, super, super simple.
So you guys so you meditate, and I think that's fantastic. And for those people who find a challenge doing that, what advice do you have for them in getting started?
Well, there's some very easy, Oprah and Deepak do some wonderful meditations. And we were doing that when I was still at home. You can find those on probably at Oprah.com. And lots of those were free. There's lots of great apps out there. Headspace is a really great one if you like guided meditation, and that's a good way to like get your toe wet. I mean, it's as simple as sitting quietly and just following your breath in and out, and just calming that without judgment, you know, because your mind's going to race, your thoughts are going to race, and you just say, that's okay. And you just sit there, because after a while you begin to feel a connectedness and a centering that is not of yourself. That's what it feels like to me. It's like, what's happening now? I'm like numb. I'm present. I know where I'm at. It isn't like I've gone to another dimension, but it's not of me.
Right. And I would like to add to that as well. If you have your dog with you too, sometimes, just putting your hand on them when they're in that peaceful, restful state brings a sense of calm to them. And also, if you can get in tune with their breath, that is sometimes that's how I was able to meditate in the very beginning when I found it difficult, was just kind of just feeling that my dog Bolo just and going in with that. So,
I love that. That's a good one.
Yeah. Okay. The next one. I'm excited to hear.
Romance and sex. Romance and sex.
Yes.
So Nancy.
We lost her. Hold on one sec. Let me refresh. We're being censored. I think that's what happened here. We're being censored. Give me 1 second. Let's see. There she comes back. Here she comes. Okay, good. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
We're good. That was so funny that you said romance and sex, and then it went blank, like we're being censored.
That was my father. So Nancy and I are looking for, we are preparing the climate for the men of our dreams. And we talk about that a lot, and are very much attached for 20-year, 30-year view listeners are very patient with us. But, you know, here's the thing. No matter where you're at on this spectrum, there is a delicious frosting that comes with romantic partnership. And you know, I have a really good cupcake right now. It's real good. I've been working. I've been working on my cupcake, and you know, and those are my other pillars. You know, health and wellness, spiritual. But I'm ready for some frosting, and that for us, romance and sex. That's the frosting. So we're trying to mix up that brew right now.
I love that. Frosting, for people who know me very well, frosting is my favorite. So interesting. Yes. You know, and I think that goes back to what you were just saying too, in terms of setting one's intention and, you know, looking at from a place of love. We all say our dogs provide us with this unconditional love. Yeah. And what could that look like showing up in any relationship for us, in terms of removing judgment, allowing others to just be who they are and accept them for that, without, you know. And
allowing ourselves to accept that love.
Yes.
Yeah. You know, that's a really great practice for me with Bella and Kissy, because sometimes it's like, you know, That self-love piece is something I'm still tweaking and still working on, but they are just like, they adore me. They know where I am every minute. It's like I walk in a room, they light up. And that teaches me how to accept that.
Yes.
So I'm ready.
Yeah, no, that's so fantastic. And if we were to show up in that same way for others in our lives, when we enter relationships or in our existing relationships, I used to say when I was teaching dog training classes, imagine what would shift in your relationships if you went to the door and greeted your family member the same way, not maybe the exact same way, but just at least got up off the couch and greeted your family member with a hug and how are you today? Or acknowledge people when they walk in your office rather than being on the computer, that kind of thing. Why do you think it's so hard for women in particular, the self-love thing? What is that? And why is it so hard?
Well, I think there's some different generational issues. Like, for me, I was raised by a mother who, you're of service. You're to be of service. You are just of service to your family, or you're volunteering at church, or you're in the PTA. And even the idea of radical self-care, which is a philosophy that Nancy and I subscribe to, like radical self-care, like what's best for me in this moment. That my mom would have said, oh, selfish. So there would have been a lot of judgment heaped on that. And that was how she, so everybody, it comes time for each generation to kind of slough off old worn out beliefs that really don't serve us. So that's what I'm in the process of doing. I don't think, I know people will disagree, but young women in their 20s and maybe even early 30s, while they may have some cultural issues where in a Kardashian world, are they beautiful enough? Does their makeup look good enough? That might be a little tough on that judge and compare piece, but they have an easier time with the self-love thing.
Yes. I know.
They're like, of course I'm great.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my God.
My daughter in particular, who I adore, and I love that she's so in love with herself. Like she's so independent, and so she's like all that. I am all that in a bag of chips.
I know. I love that. I am a little jelly, but I do love it.
Me too. I totally agree with you. So that's something that we all need to work on. And I know your pillars provide guidance and support in getting there. And I think once we do work on that, that radical self-care, putting ourselves first and foremost for finally, and being okay with that. From that place is where we can then be of much better service to others around us, for sure.
There's a really great quote, and from Christy Whitman, who's a wonderful spiritual teacher. She's been on our podcast, and she's become a great friend of mine. And I love when she says this: "Give from the saucer, not from your cup."
That's so awesome. I was just talking about that last night.
I know. Give from the overflow, give from your saucer. And like, that is such an easy thing, like think of your coffee, think of your teacup. It's such an easy thing to understand, where radical self-care is anything but selfish. It's self-full. But that idea of selfish, all you care about is yourself, good. Yeah. Because if you're taking care of yourself the way you should, if nothing happens until you meditate, if you're moving your body every day, if you're doing the kinds of things that really fill yourself up, then those are the people who are generous. Those are the people who have time to be mindful with you. Mm-hmm.
So true. That's so funny that you just said that. I literally was just talking about that last night. I'm not kidding you. And I love Christy Whitman too.
Yeah.
Maybe, does she have a dog?
I don't know.
I have to find out.
I don't know if Christy has a dog. I know she has a kid.
Okay. Okay. Next pillar is friends and family. And I love how you coined the term family.
Family. Yeah. Well, even our relationship. So Nancy and I have known each other almost 30 years. I think it's 29 this year. And so she has a 26-year-old son, a 23-year-old, 22-year-old daughter. and they're like my niece and nephew. I mean, you know, I've held them as babies in my arms. So what becomes to be clear is there are people in my biological family that are among my closest friends. I'm really lucky that way. I have like the greatest cousins on earth and a bucket load of them, and I love them all, and I feel connected to them. Mm-hmm. So I already had that family who are friends. But then the concept, when Nancy actually moved into my house, into this house for a year when we were plotting our radical self-care pillar lives, nice. and we were kind of like, okay, well, we're kind of like family too. Yeah. You know, based on what we've been through, what we've shared. So then we're like, well, it's kind of a family thing that we all need to be looking for. Mm-hmm. And you get to decide who comes into your energy field, and you get to decide who's a part of your life. And it's somewhere in that family space mm-hmm. where you kind of pull from your actual family and from your friend group. You kind of come up with your tribe.
Yeah, your pack.
Yeah.
Your pack of peeps. That's awesome. I believe that so wholeheartedly. And I will say, certainly for me, the past couple of years, that has been something I've been incredibly intentional about, who I allow in my personal little pack, my little inner circle. And, people have asked me before, how do you handle, those people who probably are not in other words, they pull you down, or they bring that negative energy, but they're people that are in your life via maybe it's a work environment right. that you can't control, or maybe it is family, and you can't just write them off. How do you handle that for yourself, or what would you suggest others do if they're in that situation?
Well, telling yourself a story about how upset you are and how annoying they are and how disrespectful they are, or whatever that story is, over and over, is the key to seeing more of that. So what I try to do is first I go to my own story. Where's my part in it? What is my story about this situation? What is my story about this person? And usually I'm already contributing to it energetically. Mm-hmm. And I just stop the nonsense. Nope. Nope. That, that's really not how I want to see this person. That's not how I want to judge their behavior or decide, project onto them what I think they're thinking about me. Mm. I think the thing is, it always comes back to minding your own beeswax. Are you tending to your own field? Mm-hmm. Have you risen in love today? Are you mindful about what the story is going on in your head? And the rest of it will kind of take care of itself. I definitely do edit. I want a certain energy around me, but I'm only unable to keep that if I don't maintain where I want to be.
Right.
When I don't tend to my energy, it's madness. All kinds of crazy business crosses my path.
I love that you're sharing that, because what it lets everyone know, myself included, is that this is always a journey and a daily work in progress, a daily evolution.
Yes.
That you don't master it and then you are it all the time. That to be human means to come up against these things. But the trick is being that cognizant place and knowing having the resources to pull yourself back in when you can.
Here's an idea I want to share with you, because I think this is really a new thought about it. And it's something that just came up in a conversation Nancy and I were having the other day, that there's a lot of talk in business about creating the culture at work. And what we're trying to put a spin on is, what is the culture I'm creating in my personal life, in my life? Yeah. What is my culture? And it goes from the bigs to the littles. It comes from, am I a candle burning kind of gal? I am. Do I like to make sure there's a little incense or some kind of something going on? I am. But even more than that, do I want, when somebody walks into my sanctuary, for them to feel warm and welcome and at peace? Yes. So we're all creating our personal climates, our family climates, our personal climates, the climates in our home. What is that culture? That all begins to create a personal culture that's almost a signature.
That is so brilliant. I love that. And I want to distill it down to the dog space in terms of how we will do that we will do that so willingly for our dogs. I mean, I have seen the most beautiful and elaborate dog beds, dog toys, dog play areas, dog clothes. The environment for the pet is so purposefully and delicately put together.
Yeah.
And it's so true.
With love and intention.
Mm-hmm. One of my statements in 2019 is that my personal space at home is my personal oasis, in which everything has meaning for me, and like when you walk in, you just go, oh my God, I'm so thankful I'm here right now. Like just feels so good. So I just think that it's brilliant, and it's so true. Creating your own personal culture.
Yeah.
So think about that, guys, as you're planning your 2019. What's your personal culture going to be like? So creativity and innovation. Did we cover that pillar?
No, but creativity and innovation is formerly known as work, because we don't use that word anymore.
Thank you. I like that. I'm going to start using that right this second. I love it.
There's all kinds of cooge on it. You know, that word has gotten co-opted, it feels, you know, and especially I'm from, I grew up in Illinois. Nancy grew up in Ohio. We have that Midwestern kind of go off to the salt mine with your lunch pail sensibility, and which actually really isn't helpful in living the filler life. It's not helpful in being in flow. And so the word's a little ruined, you know, unless we're talking about something on the wall, like a work of art, the word's a little ruined for me. So we kind of thought about, okay, what is it? What's the yumminess in this space? And it's being creative and innovating. You know, whether you're an accountant, whether you're a producer, whether you're a writer, whether you're the CEO of your home life, whether you're a nanny, everything can be creative. Everything can be innovative.
I just appreciate that new take on this more than you could possibly imagine.
Yeah.
Because it opens up space for possibility. It
sure does.
Yeah, that is so fantastic. Oh my gosh, I'm loving this. I want to come up and have coffee with you. Okay. Okay. Adventure and discovery, pillar number 6. Adventure.
Well, here is the deal. And this is, again, less true for women in their 20s and early 30s. But as you get to the middle of life, you have done everything and you have been everywhere. And next thing you know, you don't even realize it, but you are in a rut so deep, you don't even know you're living it. Right. And one of the things that happened to me when I moved from Chicago to LA full time, I don't know how to get anywhere. I don't know north or south or east or west. Like, it's so sprawling at any given time. Unless I can see the Hollywood sign, I don't really know where I'm at. So that app, Waze, has kind of, I call it the rut buster, because you never go the same way twice. I mean, for 15 years in Chicago, I went to work, to Harpo Studios, and home. Well, I lived in 2 places. So I'll say 7 years and 8 years. I went to work one way and I went home the same way. And you don't even realize how that's contributing to like this total rut. Like that, then there's a malaise. Then there's like is that all there is? And until you break out and do something that has some newness around it, and you start to go, oh, this is what life is. This is what the juice of life is. I started taking Italian last January. Oh. I'm the worst person in the class. I'm awful. Literally. I can't say 3 sentences without going to my dog-eared notes, but I don't care. Yeah. Because I'm scrambled. I feel alive because I'm cultivating that energy of newness. Yeah. It kind of reminds me too, you know, imagine when you guys take your dogs to a new location and they're all excited, and they're also excited in the anticipation of getting there too, right? With the head out the window, or they just know there's all the new smells, but it also stimulates the mind. And I agree with you. We do get in a rut. What's the word I'm looking for? I do that myself. I totally allow myself to get into ruts, right, without realizing it. That part certainly is not intentional. And it's so invigorating when you finally get yourself out, or
allow yourself to have new experiences.
The great way to do that test on that is to do something completely new and then see how you feel, like all like, woo, you know, it's, you can literally see the energy of being alive start to course through your body again. And then you go, okay, let me add some more newness, because at a certain point in life, new things stop happening.
Right.
You know how to ride a bike, you know how to drive a car, you know, you're not going to get married, you know, you've been through that, or you've been through the career thing, or at a certain point that's why women are so happy when their kids finally have a grandbaby, because it's like, new person.
Yes. Yeah. No, it's so true. Okay. Fantastic. Sanctuary and beauty.
Yes. Well, this certainly has been one of the most important things to me my whole life. And it has definitely involved dogs. When I had 2 cents to my name, I would go and buy the cheapest little candles at the drugstore I could afford, so I could create a sense of sanctuary around myself. That is, I look at it as, you know, my nest, my safe place, the place where I dream up what's next. And super, super important. Like if I'm in a place that's not super beautiful, and there's no touches, there's no warmth to it, I can feel myself almost shut down. So, and you know, beauty is that wide-ranging thing of beauty. It's the beauty of the green in your backyard. I'm looking at some trees in my backyard from where I'm sitting, and there's about 150 different shades of green. That's super beautiful. And being able to notice that, as well as, you know, I'm going to get my hair done next weekend, and that's important. And that makes me feel beautiful and taken care of and tended to.
Exactly. That's so true. And I was just saying earlier, you know, about that for myself moving forward. Okay. Something that a lot of women have a difficult time with, and that is money and abundance. We'll talk, and the dog thing I want to tie in here is that none of our dogs have any issue with abundance. They don't have a concept of money, but they are all about everything is coming to them, and will get to them in plenty of time. And if they doesn't come directly to them, they will get it, seek it, and make it happen for themselves. So,
well, yeah, and it's like walking outside. Oh my God, there's so much of everything. There's smells, there's bushes, there's this, there's that. Yeah, it's abundance is an attitude, not a big bag of gold on your thing, but that attitude can lead to some bags of gold. Yes. When I was in my 20s, all I did, it felt like, was worry about money. How I was going to make my Montgomery Ward's TV payment. How I was going to like make this. Oh, I shouldn't have bought that rug at Pier 1. I mean, I was always just fretting up a storm about money. And it really was when I completely decided to be responsible and live within my means, but to let go. Like not to chase after everything, not to be like anxious or nervous about it. Then I just kind of began to respect it. And so now, like, the way we talk about it is money is energy. Money is energy. There's no bad to it. There's no good to it. It's energy, and it's energy that can provide adventure and discovery and safety and security and wonderful experiences and adventures. So you got to kind of peel back some of your old beliefs around that. Money's the root of all evil. Oh, those rich people. And begin to bless and really notice, like when you see people who clearly have lots and lots of money, be like, me too. I want some of that. Me too. And that abundance thing, it's a verb, kind of. It's abundantly charging through the day and continuing to notice how the riches that are pouring in right at you.
I so agree. And the other piece to that you kind of mentioned is, you know, abundance is an abundance of anything. So having an abundance of, you know, beautiful, clean air to breathe, or an abundance of friends and community in your life, or an abundance of, you know, food and a home over your, a roof over your head. There's abundance in so many forms. And when we start to seek that, through gratitude too, I think is a piece to seeing more how abundant our lives truly, truly
That's
are.
right.
It's amazing. Have you, I just want to mention this because we don't have time to go through all these 10 steps, but you guys need to go to the Pillar Life. Sheri and Nancy put together 10 easy steps to launch the Pillar Life. It's fantastic. Reading through it. So I want you guys to go there. But I want to ask you, Sheri, have you ever lost a dog? I'm just curious.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. My sweet Addie Lou, and my recovery time. I want to do that better. I will honestly tell you, I want to do that better. I mean, that shook me up. It was the whole thing, the vet coming to the house, me holding her, the shot. That shook me up to my core so deeply that I couldn't even think about getting another dog for years.
Right.
For years. And it really was, I mean, it's almost like I just was not able to process my grief over that and the pain of losing her, and like, they just come and go like that. I don't want any part of it. Like I was really shook, as I know a lot of people can be. But I had these friends, Aaron and Perry, who they loved their dogs. They always had two, and they had Shih Tzus. And from the very first one they had, like they would grieve deeply for a couple months, and then they would begin the process of finding who would be the next puppy who would come into their lives. And I just was like, that is so smart. You can't get stuck in the grief.
Right. That's such a good point, because it's so easy to get stuck in the grief. And, I think part of that is the fact that it goes to a couple things, I think. One, knowing that this creature we define as maybe the only thing that loves us so deeply and unconditionally for every piece of our heart and soul, more so than ourselves. There's that. And the fact that everything about them is so completely unforgettable. And if we were to take a lesson in that departure from this earth being so unforgettable, holding such a deep place in someone's heart, what would you say to how one can show up like that, be so unforgettable that the impact you have on the lives around you become that much more powerful?
Oh my God. First of all, I love that question, and I love that thought. And I think that's a really good thought for this time of year. This December is how to become so unforgettable that when your light goes out, it's a little dimmer for a minute. And I think it all goes back to what we were saying earlier, which is the connection that can be really hard for us to make, which is that choosing of happiness, that radical self-care is the thing that spews love and inspiration out of your pores. I mean, we are inspired by happy people. We are inspired by people who value themselves and love themselves. We are inspired by people, like when we see somebody who is really all over their business, we're like, wow, I want some of that. So I think that's how we do it. I think it's the opposite. It isn't about dropping from exhaustion from service, and not taking care of yourself, which I know that's the rhythm for a lot of women, which is say yes when you mean no, volunteer in everything, even when you're ready to drop dead, give, oh, you have to, and feeling guilty, and I should do this, and they really expect that. And everybody else ends up running your life. Everybody else ends up deciding what your life is going to be like because you've been in default mode. And I think when you say, nope, thank you kindly for your help all these years, but I'm going to take the wheel back of this car. And hopefully what's going to be great for you is ultimately you're going to feel my happiness just flowing out of me. And that's going to inspire you to rise up too.
I love that. Stephanie, my marketing person, if you will type that in the comments, If you are in default mode, everyone else is going to run the ship.
Yeah.
So take that out of neutral and start driving yourself, or it's going to drive the car. Better analogy there, but God, that's so true. And I just love the way you stated that, because it is so true. Quick one question as far as it relates to your past experience. In one sentence, if you can, I'm just curious, what did you love most about working with Oprah?
Well, that was my Oprah was, I like to think of her as the dean of students of Spiritual University. I mean, there were so many great benefits to working on that show that I couldn't even begin to list them. I mean, it was truly the ride of my life. But and the insurance was great, and I was really well paid, and all that company stuff was woo. It was real good. But what was the company benefit that was the most valuable to me? It was the place where I was paid to develop a spiritual life.
Love that.
And I have that forever.
Yes, you do. What are you most excited about right now?
I'm excited about ending this year well. And I'm excited about dreaming up my next dreams for 2019. I'm excited that here's how I feel. I feel super satisfied and I'm ready for more, instead of being like, I can't wait to get this year behind me. And next year it's going to be so much better. Like, I'm out of that mode, of that. I need about 50,000 resolutions because this was I am super satisfied with 2018. And I want to continue to just suck the life out of every day that's left of this year. And then I want to spend some time, probably New Year's Eve and New Year's Day, really ruminating on what my new dreams are as I go into the new year.
I think that is so brilliant. And I just love the fact that you've gotten to a place for yourself where you can say that. I know a lot of people who may be watching. I know I personally have had the most challenging year. I started the year off saying my core word was clarity and calm, and it was going to be the year of C for me, and it ended up being quite the year of chaos. It still is a word, but not the word that I was looking for.
Yeah.
But so many lessons learned, and quite honestly, as I reflect back, the lessons were such blessings because they're giving me the opportunity to create the 2019 that I desire.
Yeah.
And so I see so many benefits and gifts in all of those challenges this year. But that said, at any moment, for those people watching, if you had a year that maybe was like mine, or you're like, oh, I didn't, feel this at the end of the way that I expected at the end of the year. Today is a day that you can sit down and go through some of these pillars and begin to set for yourself how you're going to write your story in 2019. So that
and let me add on to that. So here's what, when you talk about the pillar life, here's the thing, the invitation. In the end, you're going to create your own personal recipe for what's good for you. And I am the worst offender. I mean, for years it would be like, I'll try this program and this person's program and this person's program and this, and then I'd be like, I'm sick of that program. And instead, what I now realize for myself is I'm in charge. I've got to say what kind of meditation and how often, and what kind of nutrition and how's that going to work, and what kind of movement, and how am I going to interact with other people. I can take ideas, I can take a pinch of this and a pinch of that, like ingredients, but I'm the one making the Sherri souffle.
Exactly. So great. So a couple questions before we close. And actually, if you guys have any questions and you want to pop those into the comments, please feel free to write those in, and I'm sure Sherri will answer for you. But while they're thinking, I'm going to ask you this question. What would I would say, maybe Nancy might be the better one to answer this, but if she were to answer this question, what type of dog, what breed would she say you are?
Oh, she'd totally say I'm an English bulldog.
I mean, it too.
I know. She'd totally say that. She would say, oh my God, like you act like them. Now they're starting to look like you. There's one who's really a little old lady. My girls are older. So Kissy is almost 13 and Bella is almost 11.
Wow.
And that's pretty old for English bulldogs, but man, I take care of them like I'm learning to take care of myself.
That's right. You see, you guys, that's like the number one thing. You take care so well of your dogs. You got to do the same for you. So true. Fill in this blank. Dog is my
heart.
Dog is your heart. So true. I have a design for you coming out next year that says that.
Good. Dog is my heart.
And lastly, if you were to identify one anecdotal lesson that you've gleaned from your dogs that you've applied to your life or think about, what would that be?
Well, I think they embody, okay, here's a good one. This is Kissy for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Find your tribe and never let them out of your sight. That's my oldest girl, because that's how she finds her tribe. I'm never out of sight.
Oh, that is so brilliant. Wow. Sheri, this has been so much fun for me. I'm not kidding you. If you're ever down in Orange County, I want to take you to coffee.
Yes, I will totally. I will be in touch and I will let you know.
Okay, that would be so fun. I thank you so much for graciously
You're so welcome.
Your time this afternoon, especially during a busy time of year. I love what you're doing. And I listen to the podcast. You guys, you don't have to be 50 plus, but if you are,
no.
They have a great show. It's funny. They're hilarious. They've got great content, and it differs all the time. So great podcast there. And you can check everything else out on the thing. And for those of you who may have tuned in late, just a reminder of our giveaway, the Dog Lover Raglan shirt, which is super comfy, and it's just absolutely awesome, I must say. Really cute, kind of a fuchsia and gray tone color. And if you have not already subscribed to Fur Covered Wisdom to receive notes of inspiration from your very own dog. So Sheri, you could do this too. This would come to you from your dogs. Once a week, they will give you their words of wisdom from their point of view and give you something to think about for the week ahead to make your week.
I'm signing it. I'm signing up.
Do it. It's going to be great. Yeah, you'll really like it. And I'd love to talk to you more offline about, dogs and what you're doing. So anyway, thanks you guys so much for tuning in. I truly appreciate your time, and I will see you. We won't be on next week. I don't believe we will be kicking off the new year. So for those of you who I won't see, wishing you a year ahead, a happy holiday season, and a year ahead filled with good health, much love, happiness, joy, and continued prosperity and success, however you may see it, and lots of love for your dogs. So thanks so much. Have a great evening, and we're out.
Bye. That was fun.
That was fun.